It's May Day, Tuesday, May 1st, and it's 6:32 PM, and I'd like to go ahead and call the Public Safety Committee meeting to order. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, may I please have roll call?
Roll call, Mayor Cubillos.
Here.
Councilperson Roman.
Here.
Vice Mayor Nickerson.
Here.
Also present for the record, Janice Jacoby, Village Clerk, Christia Liu, Village Manager, Norman Powell, Interim Village Attorney, and Interim Chief Huffnagel.
At this time, I'd like to get a motion of approval of the agenda.
Before, may I? Mayor, I'd like to add just one item. It kind of just came up, so if I may, it's something that's been recurring, is to have a discussion on the FDLE fingerprinting.
6:35, okay, G3, fingerprints. May I get a motion of approval of the agenda with the addition of G3?
Motion to approve.
Motion's been made by Vice Mayor Nickerson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilperson Roman. All in favor, signal by saying aye.
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 Any nays? All right, hearing none, the agenda for the Public Safety Committee is passed. Our minutes for the March meeting has been deferred to the next Public Safety meeting. So at this time, we're going to go right into Good and Welfare. Seeing as we have no one in the audience, we're going to go right into the agenda. I have not, I think the tracking report, we're going to go through it. I'll try to, okay. I want to thank the police officers, I want to thank the manager, and I want to thank Councilperson Roman and all the residents that came out for our village-wide cleanup. It was, it's one of the nice events that we come out together and we clean up the city a little bit. We may do things a little differently next year, but as a result, I think that the Horsemen kids were great. The staff was good. We had a nice attendance, even with residents this year. So I want to thank everybody that came out to help. And I had a follow-up meeting with the chief and manager with sort of little things that we can do a little better. So I'm looking forward to implementing that next year. It's something that we used to do every October, but now we do it on Earth Month, which is April. Does anybody have any questions with regards to the recent stats that we received from, we got to update the status and let's put IVC, Interim Village Chief. Are you still doing the stats or is somebody else doing it? You're still doing it? Okay. So we just got to update the status, so it's not Sergeant Huffnagel. Does the committee have any questions with regards to the stats that we received? I think it was last week.
No.
There's definitely been an increase in activity, so that's really good to see with regards to not only the mileage, but everybody else. Everybody has a little bit of everything going on, so that is always positive to see, and it's on the website for the residents under Police Department if anybody wants to, the residents want to see it. We're not doing foot patrol, and I think that was a question that we had for the attorney last time. We're not doing foot patrol because, I don't know, maybe this is your first public safety meeting that you're attending? The former attorney or someone said to us that the police officers are not allowed to leave anything hanging on their doors. We used to have we're a small town, so the police officers like to do, foot patrol or bike patrol, and then they would do like checkups in the residents' homes. And residents did not like it because if they were out of town for 2 days and forgot to inform the police department, there'd be like a hanging thing on their door for 2 days, and then it would be an indication to anybody that wants to potentially break in, to break in. And then the second part of that was they found that it was infringing in their property rights or anything like that. So we've stopped doing that because the We don't need an answer tonight, but we stopped doing that because the former attorney has said that it was potentially a violation or something. So maybe something we want to take a look at in the event that, right now, we're going to be heading into rainy and hot weather, so I doubt they're going to be doing a lot of foot patrol, but maybe in the fall, if they want to resume foot patrol and bike patrol, can they leave the door hangers? Because, I mean, it was one of those things that a lot of residents liked it, and then a lot of them didn't like it, so. This is community policing, so. If you can send an email maybe to us to remind us, and then I'll forward it to the attorney, as far as if something that we want to resume in the fall.
Does the police department, when it does a safety check, leave a note that we were here to do a safety check?
Yes, that's what we were doing before. They were calling you to see the uniform control. Just to let them know that we were there and we just did a random check. Because sometimes they say that they're going to the police, so this way we way of us letting them know, listen, we were here, we checked. It sometimes we also leave like little notes if they have window partially open, the garage partially open, telling them to be safe. But then we were told that legally we were not able to do it by their
Could you leave it in the mailbox?
No, no.
Why not?
Inside the mailbox?
Yeah.
We never left them inside.
I'm saying, can you?
We were told that no, you can't. Due to the fact that
I thought legally you cannot leave anything in somebody's mailbox.
All the vendors and around the world that.
They
do
usually
that?
hang them on the gate.
No, you see all the junk mail that you get, the flyers, I mean, I think that, I'll look at it, but I mean, I know that a number of the other departments do that, so that way they can communicate with the residents that they're actually patrolling and servicing their community,
Right.
so,
that was the main reason. That's why we started doing that, was because of that. And it actually was meant for the door handle, so we would
Yeah.
put right on the door. But then we.
All right. so I'll take a look at that.
Yeah, and I think that if it's something that we find that the attorney says we can implement, I think the key thing is if residents let us know that they're gonna be out of town, might not be a good idea to leave the door hanger, because then it's gonna sit there for 4 or 5 days, and I think that was another concern that they had.
We can check, say, just leave because we don't have the mailbox.
Yeah, that'll alleviate that.
Madam Chair?
Uh-huh.
Maybe there's something that we can do that is maybe more like technological. Like maybe we can.
Like an email?
Like an email, or if we can, something like that, so then the residents won't have it hanging on their door, and they won't be able to complain like, oh, well, then people won't know we're home. Maybe like the police can like contact the resident directly, text or email or something like that if they're going out of town, so that then they can look wherever they are that night and say, oh, they came by our house and they said that everything's okay, or they said that there was a window broken, or like we give the report straight to the people through like technology.
Yeah, the only thing is that once you collect the emails, that becomes a public record. So anybody can simply request all of the emails and use that for commercial purposes.
Or maybe that's not good.
So there's a lot
That also
there.
becomes a little more labor intensive, right?
Yeah.
But I'll definitely look at both suggestions, and there may be some kind of exception if the municipality is communicating directly with its residents that wouldn't fall under some prohibition of leaving communications in the mailbox. Because I know that the Village Voice and those types of egrets, they leave them in the mailbox all the time.
Well, the egret is thrown on the floor.
Really, yeah.
Mine comes right in the mailbox.
Really?
Yeah, sometimes they steal, because my mailbox goes inside.
Oh.
So, well, I'll look at it.
The ESAC meeting, it is not Officer Rojas, it is, I believe it's Corporal Sharp and IVC, and sometimes me. And I believe we have the resident Crystal Carroll on it, right? Okay. I missed the last ESAC meeting, but I had a long, and really good meeting finally with the principal, where we sort of hashed out a few things in the hopes for a better new year. I mean, it was his first year, and he got hit with Irma, right? And like we all did, because we still blame everything on Irma. Anyway, so a lot of great things came out of that meeting, and he was really open to a lot of ideas for the new year, and apologized for maybe his lack of communication throughout the year. He asked me at their June graduation for the eighth graders to be the speaker that night, so I will be. So I think I told him that it's going to be really important for me in my next term to really work a little more with that school, just to really bring them into the community a little more. I think that they do work really hard in improving who they are and what they're doing. It's very possible that the school's going to end up to be a B as in boy, not D. So I do believe that says a lot about not only what Principal Lawrence has done, but what Principal Maycock did to sort of set the way. So I told him that sort of the one thing I can't keep getting to is to the school and how we are going to sort of bridge that gap with the community and the kids and the residents to make them more part of who we are, because they're right smack in the middle of our community. So yes, so for the status, Corporal Sharp, IVF, and then Crystal Carroll as well as myself. We have several of us in the event that one of us can't make it, there's one of us there. And basically ESAC covers what they're doing, what community, how they get involved, and that's the last time our chief went and talked about the cleanup and any events that come up that they are a part of or want to attend so that they're more a part of the community. I haven't seen the decoy car, I mean,
Well, we've been working on, now actually striking all the non-village vehicles that are related to it, and changing everything over to title, and so now I'm gonna have to start doing the DJ car.
I saw an email, do we have any cars to sale? Still?
Well, I got, finally a, good response from my attorney that we can auction them out instead of sending them out to bid,
Okay,
so.
I saw that email, okay, good.
We're gonna go ahead and start auctioning them out, and not only the vehicles, but anything that we would wanna auction out, the company comes out to us. And they take photos, they do the description, and put it out.
So it's a little quicker? Okay, yay, okay. Yes.
No cost to us.
Okay. Like the golf cart and things like that, okay. Just be sure that whatever is, generated, whatever dollars is generated, that it's properly allocated. But is one of the decoy cars gonna be the new cars? It's gonna be the old one, so you just haven't done it, we haven't seen the decoy car because? Short cars, okay, short cars, shortage. Let me put that here. Okay. You can use one of the black ones, though, right? No, yeah, okay, I hope so, because the black ones are, okay. Are we gonna apply for the usual grant that's due by July? Do we know with Robert?
I need to, I was hoping Robert would be here today so I can confirm it with him, so we can give you a definite answer.
Let us know via email. He usually does. He'll be here for the next meeting. I just received all this, the police evaluations. Thank you. They're all been received. I have not looked at them. I was out of town, but I did receive them all, so I want to make sure it goes on the record that they were received. I heard that. If we can put that they received. Madam Clerk, 'cause I know you, all of these were misplaced from your computer. I'm taking notes. Just make copies at the end of the night, okay?
Okay, thanks.
April, they were received April 2018. Police schedule. I'm trying to read the police schedule, we just received I don't know if the committee did, but today I just received for the next 4 weeks, the police schedule. We didn't go into it in our meeting, we didn't have time, but, on the new police schedule, we have Officer, Tiveron on there. You know, I know that it's the will of the council and to have 2 police officers per every shift, but, it's tough. And I think it's important that it gets noted, the chief, the manager, and myself attended a meeting about, I think 3 weeks ago. And it was held by Superintendent Alberto Caravallo. And then there's been a follow-up, and the chief couldn't make it, so Officer Payne went. But I think it's really important that we realize that we are heading into a time that's gonna probably be a little tough for our department. And I say that because Governor Scott has made a demand that all secondary schools, that includes middle and high school, must have a police officer on staff by the new academic school year. What that has done is that it has caused a frenzy to all of the departments in Miami-Dade County. So now they're all going on a hiring sort of, they're opening up their hiring of police officers. And they're visiting, they're contacting current current police officers and municipalities. They're already going to the Army bases throughout Miami-Dade County where they go for for reserve duty, to see who's interested. And, you know, cities like City of Miami, City of Miami Gardens, City of North Miami Beach, they pay for the police officer to go to the academy, and they're sponsored. So it's a pretty big appeal and attraction to a young kid as opposed to a young kid paying for himself, which is what all of our police officers here have had to do. We may sponsor them as it relates to help them get their background done and whatever, you know, psychological and get signed off, but they have to pay for it themselves. And if they go part-time, it takes much longer. So we have a possibility where if something like this happens, it's going to be hard for us to recruit and retain because we can't compete with the City of Miami and we can't compete with North Miami Beach. Oh my gosh, we can't even compete with North Bay Village. So it's tough. Right now, our chief is interim, and that's a position that needs to be filled eventually because she was a sergeant, so it had to be a new police officer. There could be new police officers that have been recently sworn in that are being tapped. So we just have to really think as a committee and, you know, we're not going to resolve the world tonight or resolve this issue, but it's a big concern that I have, and it's going to really impact cities such as El Portal and Biscayne Park. Anybody small that really can't compete with the big departments. So keep that in mind. If you have more questions, you can definitely meet with the manager and the chief a little more about that. But again, that's what we got from that meeting. It's not going away. I mean, there's going to be meetings that happen every so often that the chief will have to attend, and she'll have to give us a follow-up. I don't know if you want to give us a follow-up from when Officer Payne went. But that's pretty much the responsibility. And what's happening also is that many municipalities that have money, like Doral also, they are, the municipality has decided to take it upon themselves to just pay for the police officer to be at the school. Because at the end of the day, the school is in your community. School's in your community. It's our responsibility to some extent. So anyway, so I don't want to be doom and gloom, but really important. We've got to keep it on our back burner, and it needs to be an ongoing conversation as to what we are going to do in the event that we may lose an officer. We don't have anybody to replace them, and if that happens, then police schedule is going to be really tight. So and we can't put the burden on our police officers to work double shifts, overtime. So I think that aside from this meeting tonight, it needs to be a real conversation that we have. You know, again, we didn't get to cover that today because we had a lot of on our agenda, but I am going to be meeting with the chief and the manager to continue coming up, have a proactive plan in place.
Madam
But
Mayor,
yes.
if I may. I think that, because I know in a couple of weeks we have the planning and zoning, and Councilperson Roman reminded us that we had to get our priorities together that you asked for the planning and zoning. There were two things we had to get. First was the sanctuary we have to go over to prepare our questions for that. And the other thing was and the other thing was the planning and zoning to get our priorities together as far as that. But as far as the legislative priorities that we did before, I think that if this is going to be a priority from the governor, maybe we can use this to push our lobbyists to get more money for our police department in different aspects, because we don't have, you know, the funding that the larger police departments have, but also because of the safety issue, we can maybe cloak this issue to not only get money for that we need because the schools in our community, but to also get money to help out our overall police department, if maybe we can make a push for our lobbyists to push in that way, maybe.
What also was discussed at that meeting is there's gonna be certain monies allocated, and it's gonna be given to the school board, and it's gonna divvy it up between the schools. So Governor Scott has already done that. They've already, because of Parkland, they've already decided, I don't have the exact dollar amount, but, it's gonna say it's gonna be I think it was 9 million, actually, 9 billion. And what's gonna happen is that 9 million is gonna go to the school board, and they have to divvy it up into all the schools. But where you're at in the chain of getting that money, is where we have to continually fight for. One of the things I've asked the chief to do is to find out with Officer Roll, who we share him with Edison High School. The school board should definitely not do that anymore for the new year. Like, it should be, the Officer Roll is gonna be at Horace Mann, or Officer Roll is gonna be at Edison, but Officer Roll should no longer be split up. So, I mean, this is something that we can't sort of we'll have to work on throughout the whole summer, because school does end in 4 weeks. As far as lobbying and asking for, I don't see how the governor's probably gonna give out any more money based on what they have. And when lobbying, they don't really give out money for retention. They may give out money if you need a new building for the police officers, something like that. But they don't really give out, but, you know, I mean, hey,
Yeah,
listen, we just, you know,
Understand exactly
it's something
what you're
that we
saying.
all have to put our heads together. I want to put it out there so you, as you all are like, the wheels are
For sure,
spinning.
for sure.
We are, we're thinking about that and try to have a proactive plan throughout the summer as we collectively meet throughout the, council meetings, you know? And again, we asked Ronnie today to also think about it, like, you know, so when we reconvene, you know, hopefully we have an idea or a game plan of what we can come up with creatively for our officers to keep them here. Okay. That's why I got into a police schedule, because we may have some
So may I,
emptiness.
Just comment on the schedule for a minute. I had a conversation with the manager in regards to the police schedule last week, I believe it was, or the week before, just because I noticed that there were vacation and off times. So I know that I wanted to bring it to the committee and just mention it. I know it's, you know, we're tight already with the number of officers that we have, but I asked if we can take a closer look at our coverage and how we approve the time off and get some flexibility so that we, you know, we're not so lean. I think there was a particular week where that happened. I can't remember the details.
That was Officer Blasek, that he ended up burning his whole entire vacation, and then he got.
So, yeah, I just, we had a discussion, and, you know, I'll leave it up to you ladies to get creative and how to resolve that, but that was just something I wanted to bring to the committee, because it is something that, when I look at the schedule, that's also what I look at, is, you know, ensure we have coverage.
Oh.
Councilman, you want to respond?
Okay. Yeah, I covered that also with the manager and the chief with regards to if we're a little scarce with police officers and how we allocate vacation and stuff, we're gonna have to be a little frugal until we can figure things out. But again, I mean, I asked them today to come up with something proactive and let's talk about it. So the conversation happened today, so I don't think they have an answer for me. The conversation was 2 hours ago. So I don't think they have the answer for me, and if they do, wow, I'd be impressed. But I think we're all on the same page, and we just have to all, you know, work together and figure it out. And, hey, listen, let me tell you something, I have no problem putting a uniform on. Okay, let's go to the next one.
No problem.
No problem putting a uniform on.
Oh.
Um,
I've seen you in one.
But you have our support, I think you all know that. We just have to
Yes.
figure out what we're gonna do, because it's gonna affect all of us. So we just have to be creative, conservative, and, you know, impactful at the same time. New police vehicles, they're all functioning, we're good, we can delete that, we're good. Refund and body cameras, we already received, we can delete now number 10. CCTV cameras, you know, yes, that's going to be a priority, but I'm going to wait until we go to admin and finance when things are going to come up. So we're just going to leave that aside for right now, CCTV cameras, because we'll talk about Irma and admin and finance. Okay. Number 14, we have the police officers are sworn in. At the May meeting, if you would like to get Officer Riveron, if you would like Officer Riveron, and since he's now full-time, if you want him to get sworn in at the May council meeting, that'd be great, okay?
Yes.
Because he was sworn in as part-time, but now he's, you know, gonna be full-time. We're not gonna cover the police officer bonus just yet. Citizens Crime Watch, I know that Officer Paul Battaglia has been really active on that. We just have to get a date that he wants to have a town hall. I think the date that he chose was the May 12th, which is my town hall, so we couldn't do it.
Right.
So we just have to come up with another
Actually,
date.
we're gonna be going over there tomorrow. We have
Okay.
a Crime Watch meeting tomorrow,
Okay.
and they're gonna give a presentation, so we're gonna see if the individual can come here when we decide to do when we can do the Crime Watch.
Okay.
If he can come here and do a presentation also. Reference the rain.
Might have to put citizens in those Citizen Crime Watch cars, okay. I also want to applaud Officer Battaglia and all his social media work that he's been doing.
Yes.
I think it's really, 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 he's consistent, which is really good. Labor Management Committee, we meet whenever we need to as it relates to the hiring. And it's usually myself, the manager, a PBA rep, and as well as the chief. Last time we met was when we interviewed Officer Riveron as a consideration. So we generally meet when there's a need. Might be probably a good time to have a meeting to sort of discuss what we could be approaching soon and see what we need to, or what we can do. Because I think we need to definitely jump in the boat wagon on that.
Officer Rideon, just to clarify, he is gonna be officially with us on the 5th, because he had to give 2 weeks' notice to his job, and then, but he's still in FTO phase. So he'll be working with Corporal Sharp in the midnight hours, doing his FTO training. And then once he completes that, then he'll be out on the field by himself.
450 hours, right?
Correct.
Okay, forfeiture funds, we haven't used them, right?
No,
Okay, we haven't used them yet. So we still have, what is it, 26 or 13,000 in there?
it's 25,
Okay.
25,800.
Has Gabriella given us back, follow-up on the manual? No? Okay. Hey, you know, hands down, she was so helpful to the town hall, so, I'll cut her some slack. But if we can definitely have it, I mean, hurricane season is creeping upon us. So we want to be sure that we are as proactive as possible with the hurricane season, so, I'm gonna delete this. Okay, I'm gonna put DPO. All right, that completes the tracking report. Let's go to the retirement policy. We have, our attorney presented for us to consider an ordinance, would it be an ordinance, or just is gonna be it would just be a policy? Okay. And does the committee know how this came to be?
No.
Okay.
With the police.
This came to be because David Atlee retired, and David Atlee, I believe, misplaced or lost his badge, something like that. Wallet or stolen.
Lost his wallet.
So he's been calling the manager and asking for a replacement. And since we didn't have a policy in place, the chief said no, and then he called Councilperson Mathis. And Councilperson Mathis has reached out to the attorney, and the attorney and Councilperson Mathis said, why don't we consider a policy of, if you retire from a place where you've been 25 to 30 years, you know, you probably deserve a badge. My only thing that I'm going to recommend, I have not really read it entirely, but again, if you put a service of 25, 30 years, you know, I believe he earned it. But shortly after he was given a no, he really was unkind to our current chief on social media. So my recommendation is if we go through with this, it's something that we're going to do, and something that's gonna go to full council, I'm okay with it, but he needs to there needs to be a written apology. Because when you're a police officers, and so in today's world, you shouldn't do that on social media. It's unbecoming of an officer. So that's my only 2 cents on this.
Just to make a correction, it was before, he decided to blast me on social media before he even lost the wallet. He had done, it was after he had, right, only because he ended up showing up at the police department, and we had, me and Christia were having a conversation, and I just happened to mention that he was here dealing with Irwin, and I don't know how it came about. He was told that he was not allowed to come in unless he's escorted with a police officer. He came on a day that it was a holiday, and myself and Officer Burrell were here, and that was it. It was just mentioned to the village manager, and I guess she addressed it with the CFO, and I guess the CSO decided to tell David Atlet, and he decided to bash me all over social media.
Yeah, and again, like I said, you know, I don't know if it was before or after, but my whole point is, again, I don't have a problem with the policy. I believe that if you put 25, 30 years in, you know, earned badge, I understand that. But there needs to be a written apology, because when you're police officers, there's gotta be a level of respect.
Absolutely.
And he needs to do that, okay. So anyway, any questions for the attorney on this policy?
Madam Chair?
Yes,
There's actually there's two areas that are left purposely blank where the committee has to make recommendation as to what will qualify you for the badge. So I purposely left them blank because I don't know what that term would be. So if you're a sworn police officer, we have to, or I should say the committee has to make a recommendation as to how many years you'd be considered retired, and the same thing for a civilian police retirement.
So is that not a policy we already have?
Not that I-
Retirement
not that I
or
know of.
anything? Oh,
No.
okay.
In addition, if I may complete the thought, this
isn't
is
it when they
some-
go in the drop?
Well, we can retire at 25 or 30.
Right.
We could retire at 25 and 30.
FRS allows, and we can do the 25 or 30.
But does it have to be, are we saying that the 25, 30 have to be here at the Village of El Portal?
No, I think it's combined,
It's combined.
it's combined. So
Right,
they would assert,
this policy, are we making it combined, or is it just for El Portal?
I would assume that although it's not on there, it's a combined. So whether you worked at Biscayne Park and you worked at Miami Shores, but you're retiring in El Portal, you get a retiree badge from El Portal.
Okay.
Or if you retire at Biscayne Park, whatever they do, right? That's what I'm
Well,
assuming.
with the way it's written,
know
it's
how it
with
works.
this particular department, so if you all want to recommend that I amend this to have it just read that if you've served 25 years as a sworn police officer, period, it doesn't matter whether it's here or with other departments, you'd be entitled to it if your retirement is here, then I could make it read that.
Yeah, I mean, 25, 30 years, I mean, you tell us, I mean, okay, but they would have to be retired.
Right, correct. It would
They
have,
can't have like dual badge, a retired badge and a current, like an acting, like they'd have to be retired.
correct. And what he is asking for is not the actual badge. I'm not sure if he lost the badge, but he's asking is for
ID
an
card.
ID card, which he had. It was, I mean, he left with his own ID card, but that's the one he lost.
Well, you'd get both under the policy. You'd get the retirement badge and then also an identification card.
Right.
25 years? I think that's, you know, in the military, it's 20 years that they're eligible for retirement.
Maybe 25.
I'm fine with 25.
Fine with 25.
And so 25 years, regardless of whether it's with this department or combined with other departments.
Yeah, if they do the last 5, 10 years and they retire, I mean, it's,
Right,
and they
so-
did good, they were
Yep.
in good, you know, compliance and, you know, good reviews
so
That needs
that-
to be written.
Right, so now we're saying two different things.
Yeah,
So we're saying,
and good standing is what I meant.
well,
yeah, but
a total of 25 years, but
There's
there
gotta
has
be
to
a
be
minimum for
a
here.
minimum for here, because the badge is gonna be
Yeah.
issued from here. So are we saying a total of 25 years with a minimum of 5, 10, 7 here?
The person sponsoring the policy is recommending 10.
Okay, so total 25, 10
that a long time?
of service
No,
with
it's fine.
the department.
10? Yeah,
Yeah.
10.
I mean, that's a decent time for this village.
Part of the research, if I may, part of the research in this, it also would afford the retired officer to be able to, as long as he kept up his certifications with firearm use, he would not have to then go and get a separate concealed weapons permit under the federal regulations. That's why, I think that's why he's asking for this, if I'm not.
Right, correct,
Right.
right. Wants to be able to carry concealed weapons. I mean, he could still do it on his own without having a police ID, but
I don't know if I like that.
It's just part of the program.
Is it? I still don't know if I like that.
It's
I mean,
federal
he-
law.
No, I know, but it's.
Yeah.
Well, just to clarify, he can still go without a police ID and get his
Oh,
concealed weapons.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. But this,
Maybe we can
he would, this would obviate the need to do that under the federal regulations, as long as he kept his certifications up.
What else on this, proposed policy do we need to take a look at
Well,
to,
The second category, Madam Chair, the civilian, the civilian employee. So one category is for sworn police officers, and the other category is for civilians who work in the police department.
doesn't really apply to us except the manager, right? Because
Yeah,
we don't have a civilian,
But it
like, we don't
could.
have a dispatcher. Like,
No.
if you had a dispatcher,
Well, we don't have it right now.
But it could in the future.
So, I mean, I guess we can tweak it when it becomes necessary, but
Why not do it now?
it's up to you, might as well.
might as well do it all together,
Yeah.
right? Serve a minimum of years of civilian service? 10, that's fine.
So you want the same thing, 25 and 10?
Yep, that's fine. But 25 with the village of El Portal?
No, 25 in total.
Overall, okay,
It-
okay.
It'll mirror the same as a sworn
Okay.
police officer.
What is this gonna cost us? It's not gonna cost us anything, right? Except we gotta issue the badge.
We have the
All right.
medal, the badge.
Bad and medicine.
Okay. Anything else on this proposed policy?
Nope.
Any questions for the attorney?
We will include this, incorporate this into the new handbook, the new manual.
This, if it's the will of the committee to move forward, and then I'll just go in the May agenda. Any questions to the attorney? Anything else you want to add?
No, the last thing, I think I mentioned it in the email that I believe I sent to the manager or to Council and Mathis, is that this may be something that we just also incorporate in the collective bargaining agreement, so that it's consistent with there, when we do the reopening.
When we do the reopener. Any other questions for the attorney or the manager or our interim chief? Okay, all righty. So, when and if this goes to full council, we don't need to do a reso for it, correct? No, okay, because no money involved, okay. Is there a motion to approve the proposed policy to go into the new handbook for the police officers on a retirement badge?
All motion.
Motion's been made by Councilperson Mathis, is there a second? Oh, sorry. Motion's been made by Councilperson Roman, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Vice Mayor Nickerson, any further discussion before I ask for roll call? All right, hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Councilperson Roman,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Nickerson,
Yes.
Mayor Cubillos.
Yes.
Motion passes 3.
All righty. The next item we have is item 3 that was added by Councilperson Roman.
Yes, so the reason I'm adding this, I don't know why that's not
Why is
working.
this here?
The reason that I'm adding this to the agenda is because at the council meeting, I was under the impression, we brought that up briefly, that all the fingerprints were done for the current employees. I've got some conflicting information where I think the last employee that has not had her fingerprints done or have not been received by the village is the clerk. Our due date was March 30th. This has been an ongoing topic for the village since November 3rd. And we had said that all of the employees, including the council, needed to get this done. And still, we have not received the village clerk's fingerprints.
All of the council with the exception of Councilperson Dre, who just
Correct.
opted, okay.
Who opted to hip. However, that's not an option. We agreed, as a committee and as a council, that it's not an option for the employees, and we are moving forward with all of our employees getting fingerprinted prior to getting hired, and everyone that was here, and also employees that have retired that are no longer here, had to get those fingerprints done. So this just seems to me, I personally would like to make a motion for this to be taken care of and received by the next council meeting. Otherwise, I would say that the clerk could no longer be employed here. Have you had them done yet?
Yes,
When?
April 17th,
April 17th. What department?
Bal Harbor.
We don't have the results yet?
I know, Manager Shores and.
You gotta talk in the
Manager
microphone.
Shores and Biscayne Park, the Shores, you know, they took a little bit longer only because we grouped them and then they sent everybody in. But it only took maybe 2 weeks of that, right? But then Coral Gables, they sent them within either the same day or the next day. So I don't know about Bear Harbor, I've never dealt with them, I don't know what the procedures are. I mean, it's live scan prints, I don't know what the holdup is. I just found out about it today that she had gone to Bear Harbor, so.
When, have you called him to follow up?
Oh, no, I didn't even know that was an issue, actually, because I spoke, like I told the manager today, I spoke to Councilperson Draher, and he had told me that FDLE, we were in compliance. So I thought, okay, my fingerprints must have come back because we're in compliance. So then, when she made me aware, oh, your fingerprints have not come back, that Councilperson Roman has kept insisting that my fingerprints, that what's going on with my fingerprints, I was like, well, I told you I did it such date. I have no control of when they come back or what happens from there forward. It's out of my control. So I did tell her where I was. I mean, I don't think, if I'm requested from my job something, I don't think it's my position to follow up. I did my part. And I said what department, and I said where. It's not like I'm hiding anything. It's just, I don't see why the persistence is with me especially.
Because you are the only employee that still does not have her fingerprints.
Do you
or
ha-
that we have not received them.
I
Do you-
can prove that I did my
Do you have,
fingerprints.
okay, so I was gonna
It's
say,
just the way that I'm being questioned.
do you have a receipt? Do you have a tracking?
Yes, I did tell him I have a tracking number.
So did you give it to,
No, because I didn't know that was a problem
until,
until today.
okay.
There was
So
an email
can-
that went out to the clerk asking whether or not this was done.
And at the last council meeting, I
And
said
that
that I
email
did do my
was-
fingerprints.
That email was not responded to.
So have you given to the chief your receipt?
No,
Or
not
I-
yet,
I
because
took-
I didn't know it was a problem till today.
Okay. So do you have a copy of the receipt or tracking, whatever? I don't know what they give you.
Yes, I can give it to her. I can give it to her later tomorrow, or, when I come back to work.
So can you give it to her, what's today? Today's Tuesday. Can you give it to her tomorrow?
Yeah, but you know what? If she made a motion, she can go ahead. I don't have a problem. I have nothing to hide. If it just feels like it's personally on me, like it has been for the past. Other people have done it, and I don't see anybody being questioned. I'm always being questioned by her.
Well, and
It's so true. No, it is.
I'm not gonna bring everything in. We're only gonna talk about this issue. And I think the only reason that the focus is left here is because it's the only one that's missing. So, I mean, I don't think we're talking about anything else. It's the only one that's missing. Once we get the results, we'll all be good
But
to
she
go.
just said that if I had not done them, or if she doesn't receive them by a certain time, and I said I did them, then I could be fired. That's what I heard.
If we don't receive
So,
acknowledgement that
something
you-
that's not
she
in my
received
control.
it.
Okay.
So, attorney, so what we're gonna do is, we need to receive them tomorrow. You need to give a tracking number to our interim chief. She gotta get it tomorrow. Because if you have them, then you just gotta find out should not take that long, and never, the fingerprints lifespan comes back in 48 hours, or 24 to 48 hours. So, I mean, I don't know if you gave them, if they didn't know where they were going to, you have to
No,
give
no,
them
I
an
gave them the
ORI
routing
number, an
number, 'cause I
OCA
printed-
number?
yeah,
Okay.
I printed
So
it.
if they have that, then it should automatically, did Tallahassee receive them and bypass you? Can you find that out? I mean, I don't think that would happen, but, I mean, that's, you know, we have an admin and finance committee meeting in literally a week, right, or 2 weeks? So, I mean, it can't take 2 weeks to have this completely all resolved. I mean, if the fingerprints are done, sometimes maybe the ORI or the OCA number, if you're off by one number, your fingerprints can be in limbo. It's very possible. So, because once you give the ORI or the OCI number to the department that you're getting your fingerprints, it automatically goes into a system. And then that system goes to the requiring agency that's asking. And I know that's how it goes here, that's how it goes for my school. And automatically, it gets uploaded into a program that you have to have a username and password. So maybe it's in limbo, because maybe there's a wrong ORI, I have no idea. Anything is possible. But but if there is a tracking number, Ronnie, if you don't have the time tomorrow, if you can assign a police officer to look into that tomorrow to find out what, where the tracking. Okay. And then that we can as soon as you have it solidified, we don't have to wait for the admin and finance, just email, the committee.
Madam Mayor, Madam Chair, if I may.
Mhm.
Just in case, like I'm not sure, what's going on. I'm not sure if like you said, a number could be wrong or whatever it is. If she has a tracking number, she has a tracking number. Just in case, by chance, if she maybe, because she wasn't expecting to have this come back, that, the tracking number, might not be somewhere where she thought she might, she might need like a couple of days maybe to find it or something like that. Maybe she left it in her car, or maybe, because you're not thinking about having to hold on to something to, to bring it up. You might have placed it somewhere to where it might just not be, a priority, it might not be there available. So can we give her maybe till Friday?
Yeah, I was saying the admin and finance
No.
meeting, 2
I'm
weeks.
saying instead of tomorrow, or maybe like a week from now to present it, just in case of she placed it somewhere and she just might not right now know exactly where that tracking number paper is, Cause I don't want anybody to go home and then say, oh, the tracking number was weeks ago, and I thought I left it here, and she gets home tonight and it's not there, and she's like, oh man, like I promised that I was gonna, present this by tomorrow, and I can't find it tonight. You know what I mean? Because maybe she might need a day or two.
If you email it to me, I don't really need to be here physically. I mean, I'm gonna be in meetings tomorrow, and I can, as long as you email it to me, then I can reach out to the department, find out what their protocol is, what their process, and see what, maybe, like what the mayor said, maybe one digit, one number was off.
I just don't want by tomorrow, if she can't find it or is not able to email it to you by tomorrow, then by tomorrow afternoon, we're sitting here and we're starting to complain that she hasn't given it to us. So I'm just asking if we can give her more time, that's all.
Up to you guys. I mean, she can
To the
email it to
committee,
me.
I'm asking the committee.
Well, my thought process is,
She could always call Bal Harbor. And I'm sure they can provide that.
Yes.
I just, and it's nothing, obviously, it's a policy. Anywhere else, employees, the clerk is at the will of the council. It's the council's responsibility to hold both the village manager and the clerk accountable as the employees of the village and our employees. And we've been waiting since November 3rd of 2017.
Let me just say this though. First of all, like I said, I'm asking you guys to give her more time, because let's say if she has misplaced it, let's say she can go back to Bal Harbor. She might not, she can't go back tonight after the meeting.
Vice Mayor
Right.
Erickson, 2 things. We have 3 meetings left. What I recommend, and I'll go back on, we meet in 2 weeks in admin and finance. I think 2 weeks, if we have that answer in 2 weeks, I think we're gonna be fine. you know, so I mean, we meet literally in 2 weeks.
No, it was.
So, you know, we just kindly ask you, we may not stay on top of you, we may not email you and call you, but just work together, please, and just get back to us with an answer. If you get it before the 2 weeks, great, just email the manager and the committee.
Okay, I was under the impression that we said tomorrow.
No, I said the admin and
Oh,
finance
okay.
committee. No.
Okay.
so I-
Two,
all right.
that's perfect. That's
So we have 2 weeks.
Tomorrow's just to try to get the number
Okay,
two,
okay.
yeah,
All right.
yeah.
That's fine.
But it's really
that,
two
that was the confusion. I was under.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right, so we're all on the same page, we're good, so you guys are gonna work together to get that to us? All right, thank you. Good and welfare. The microphone's not working?
Liliana Pico, 181 Northwest 87th Street. Good to see you guys. Hi. Is this only required for the employees or the fingerprinting? Or the council members as well? And the mayor?
It was required by everybody to include council, to include clerk, to include manager, to include vendors that have access to go back to meet with the manager. How this transpired was because we had an audit, I don't even remember when, it was during Irma. And when the auditors came here, now they have seen our setup before, but you know, with FDLE and anything government, anything changes, right? When they came here, they saw our setup. And our police department, as you've seen, because you've come here, almost anybody can just walk right through. And there's a couple of computers in there that have sensitive information.
The police department, no,
Yeah.
you can go in.
Like when you know, go to the front desk, you can just go, like we walk in and we go all the
Oh,
way
in the
through.
front desk here?
Yeah, and then
When
you walk
come
all the
into
way
the-
in,
Okay,
and
not
then you
through
go
the
to the
police
manager.
department, because you
No.
can walk,
No.
okay.
But like, we all work here, we like all, you know, go back there, meet with the manager. So then they came out with a written report saying, this was just one of a few things. Anyone who has access to the police department must get fingerprinted.
Okay, so you guys all, like.
Yes.
Okay, so, and Councilperson Nickerson came clear?
Councilperson Nickerson's came out,
Came out clear.
Okay. I'm just wondering, because there was some news that I don't know if that's, I'm just questioning.
they look for felony charges, they look for theft, they look for, I mean, I don't want to speak, you can say, but I'm assuming that that's what they look for. Or they look for fraud,
I
You
do
know?
background checks, I work in the financial industry, so I,
yeah, so.
every time
what-
I
what-
apply for a job.
What has, yeah, and me too.
Yeah.
I'm used to doing them every 5 years.
Yeah.
What happens is if something has come back, they will not be able to just freely, they can't have keys. You know, they can still be in office. They just can't have keys, and they can't just like go back there whenever they want. They have to be escorted by a police officer.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's really what happens.
Madam Mayor, if I may. We also have, for example, Councilperson Dreyer didn't get his done. He didn't want to get his done. So he has the hip-to-hip option. So,
What
even
does
though.
that mean?
So hip-to-hip would mean that, so since Councilperson Dreyer didn't want to get his done, when he comes back, if he has to go back, pass through the police department,
Gotcha.
a
He
police
can
could
be
just walk
escorted.
next to him.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
so you have either way, so it's not that it was required for all of us to get it done, which all of us got them done, but you also had that option, and he chose that option.
Got
So
it.
you have that option also.
Okay.
And if anything came back not really good, we were asked, recommended that, you know, they may need to be let go or something.
Gotcha.
So,
So it was recommended by FDLE? Gotcha.
Florida Department of Law Enforcement.
Got it. Okay, cool. Thank you, guys.
Anybody else in good and welfare? Ms. Brooks, welcome back. Good. Anybody else? Okay, hearing none, can I get a motion to adjourn the Public Safety Committee meeting?
Motion.
Motion's been made by Councilperson Roman, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Mayor Nickerson, all in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
The Public Safety meeting concludes at 7:27 PM.